talking about Colombia, right? When I went to Colombia, I took shout out to my man Shula. I took Shula with me and another friend of mine that was from America that was out there. When we got there, Pablo Escobar's brother, we went to this old hood. And when they got there, they was like, you can shoot a video here. And the young nigga like, no, you can't. And so all this Spanish dialogue is going on. He got the face like, cause I know Shula knows Spanish. I said, Shula, what's going on? He said, them young niggas said, we don't give a fuck about Pablo. You wanna shoot a video, they gonna have to pay. And not only pay to shoot a video, now y'all gotta pay to get out here. Cause we went up like a one-way street and there's only one way out. And I'm like, yeah. They was like, what? We had our own security with us. I said, yo, Shula, ask the security, we kidnapped, and Shula asked in Spanish, said, no, a little something. Man, we paid them and got out of there. We really had to pay to get out there. It wasn't like nothing crazy, but we had to pay to leave.
Okay, so the do's and the don'ts of going to Colombia or Dominican Republic.
Meet Charles Cosby. If you don't know who he is, you're probably asking how he's qualified to speak on the do's and don'ts of Colombia. In the early 1990s, he connected with the Colombian godmother and had access to nearly an unlimited supply of cocaine, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Don't wear expensive jewelry. Don't talk on your cell phone in public.
Why not?
Because they got guys on motorcycles that go around specifically snatching people talking on their cell phones. Tourists, American tourists.
Just like that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll happen so fast, you'd be like, did this nigga just rob me? And they'll be gone, they'll melt in the traffic that quick. I've seen it happen on more than one occasion. They won't do that to me because they respect me. You know, they know if they rob me that, you know, it's going to be repercussions, you know what I'm saying? So they don't fuck with me, but like, for instance, this one guy. So, I go to the Dominican Republic, every month or every month and a half. Like I say, my kids are there. This one guy, I was on the plane, so he sat, one seat over from me. And so he knew who I was. So he's like, oh, gee, this is my very first time coming to the Dominican Republic, you know. What are the do's and the don'ts? So I said, okay. I said, well, what part are you going to? So he was going to Puerto Plata, Sosua, which is on the other side of the island. So he was so green about the Dominican Republic, he flew into Santo Domingo, a Los Americas airport, which is 6 hours away from Sosua and Puerto Plata. So I'm like, well, first of all, you have to catch a bus from here through the mountains down to Sosua. I said, so here's what I'm going to tell you, and follow these instructions very carefully. Do not allow a woman to open your drink for you. Don't allow her to do it because she's going to put some in your drink and knock you out and rob you. If you bring her back to your hotel, he had a total hotel. When you go to sleep, put your wallet in your underwear.
This brings us to the insane story of Charles Cosby. He was a small-time dealer from Oakland until one letter changed his life forever. That letter came from Griselda Blanco, the queen of cocaine. Within months, Charles Cosby went from hustling on the corner to living in luxury and sleeping next to one of the most dangerous women in cartel history. But love, power, and greed don't mix for long. Click like and help this video get in the algorithm by hyping it. Welcome back to On Point Stories.
That's actually like right around the time when we kidnapped and robbed a drug dealer. It was around that time. Saw on television, you know, and there were some women drug dealers, but I didn't know they existed to that degree. You know, that's like cream of the crop, you know. So a light bulb went off in my head. Damn, what if I could meet this woman one day? You know, and she could be that divide, you know what I'm saying, from me being a street dealer to me being a major dealer, you know what I mean? So, and I've always been extremely smart, you know. I aced my classes when I went, you know, aced my classes, English, science.
Meet Charles Cosby, the Oakland hustler who made an alliance with Griselda Blanco, the notorious godmother and Black Widow behind a billion-dollar drug empire and a plot to kidnap JFK Jr. Discover how he rose to become her chief U.S. distributor, amassed millions, and narrowly escaped her deadly wrath in a story of power, passion, and survival.
I run with a pack of wolves, you know what I'm saying? So to keep from getting ate up, I got to be a wolf myself, you know what I'm saying? you know, because ain't nobody gonna take nothing from me, just like I told you. When they try to take something from me, you better bring lunch because it's gonna be a long day.
So several years later, I met a woman who actually used to work for Griselda in Miami. She was a Panamanian chick. And so I sat with her. I'm like, listen, I need you to do me a favor. I'll give you whatever you need. You know, I need you to form a bridge between myself and Griselda Blanco. She said, okay. She said, I'll reach out. You know, she's in prison, but I don't know exactly which prison she's in, but she's doing time. She got like 35 years, she said. So she found out where she was at. She was actually 20 minutes from my house in California, right outside of Oakland. So she let me write her letter first, and then, you know, you can follow up. So she wrote her letter saying, you know, this is Guy. He's infatuated with you. You know, he's a great guy. You know, solid guy. So she wrote her, then I wrote her, and she was receptive to what I said, and that's how I kicked off.
In the shadowy world of criminal enterprise, a few names loom larger than life. People whose sheer will, calculated gambles, and relentless ambition forged empires of illicit wealth. Today, we look into the extraordinary narrative of a man intimately connected to one such titan, Charles Cosby. He navigated the treacherous currents of the drug trade, not merely as a participant, but as a business partner, and indeed a lover, to one of history's most feared and influential criminal masterminds, Griselda Blanco, famously known as the Godmother. From the streets of Oakland to the highest ranks of a global drug empire, Charles' journey is a testament to survival, ambition, and the brutal realities of a life lived on the edge. How did a young man from Northern California become linked with a figure of such legendary ruthlessness? This is his story. Born in Oakland, California in the 1960s, Charles Cosby's early life, unlike some of his future partners, was not one of inherited privilege. His childhood was marked by a profound disruption. At just 2 years old, his family unit shattered when his mother discovered his father's hidden double life, leading to a dramatic confrontation and his father's permanent departure. This left his mother, a nurse, to raise 4 children alone. The immense strain eventually led her to become a functional alcoholic, a coping mechanism Charles often witnessed as she navigated her responsibilities while grappling with her pain. This backdrop of instability and early trauma set the stage for a young Charles, who, by the mid-1980s, found himself at a pivotal crossroads. Oakland, a city of a mere 300,000 residents at the time, was on the brink of a seismic shift. The year was 1985, and crack cocaine began its devastating infiltration. What was once a landscape of mongoose bikes and bus trips to the mall rapidly transformed into one dominated by fast cars and illicit cash. It was in this burgeoning underworld that Charles, then only 16, received his introduction to the game. An older friend from Brookfield, known as Banana, who was already accumulating significant wealth, initiated Charles into the art of cooking and selling cocaine. His mother, however, would have a dramatic, costly intervention when she discovered 2 ounces of cocaine, worth approximately $4,000 at the time, being processed in their kitchen, ultimately pouring the entire liquefied product down the sink. Charles' early ventures, while lucrative, were not without problems. While initial dangers were limited to bricks-in-the-box scams, the landscape quickly grew more violent. The brutal murder of his mentor, Banana, following a robbery, ignited a bloody chain of retaliations in Oakland's underworld. Facing an explicit threat to his own life, Charles sought refuge in Fresno, where he laid low, spending his accumulated $30,000 until nothing remained. His return to Oakland was decided by desperation and a lack of alternative skills. Without resources, he resorted to extreme measures. Collaborating with 3 associates, he orchestrated the kidnapping of a prominent local dealer, securing a $50,000 ransom that immediately propelled him back into the lucrative drug trade. This bold act proved his ruthlessness and capacity for high-stakes crime, a trait that would soon align him with an even more powerful figure. It was around this period that whispers of a legendary figure began to build a name in the criminal underworld, Griselda Blanco. Born in Cartagena, Colombia in 1943, Griselda's early life was steeped in unimaginable poverty and social unrest. Her early years were marked by a shocking brutality. At just 11 years old, she committed her first murder, a chilling act of cold-blooded execution following a failed kidnapping for ransom. This early baptism in violence set a precedent for a life without remorse, where survival and ambition justified any atrocity. Her path in life continued its violent ascent. She married Carlos Trujillo at 13, they had 3 sons, and together they established a modest marijuana business. However, an argument led to a swift, definitive resolution. She simply paid someone to kill him. This act, followed by an extremely difficult life, shaped her further. It was her second marriage to Alberto Bravo that truly propelled her rise. In the late 1960s, they legally entered the United States, establishing a cocaine empire from Queens, New York. Griselda, a natural leader, was given free rein, and their operation exploded. What began as importing cocaine in suitcases with false bottoms quickly escalated from $20,000 a week to $1 million a month, eventually reaching an astonishing 10 to 15 million per week within a year and a half. New York's party scene, athletes, and Wall Street clientele fueled an unlimited demand, which Griselda ruthlessly exploited. Her strong will and foresight drove her to take a young Pablo Escobar under her wing, introducing him to the trade, transforming him from a mere car thief into a protege. By 1975, despite a major indictment that led to the arrest of 37 associates in Operation Banshee, Griselda, through her immense financial resources, evaded arrest. She fled to Colombia, but her empire was far from dismantled. Less than a year later, she resurfaced in Miami Beach, where her fortune, already an astounding $500 million, tripled to $1.5 billion. She now controlled virtually all cocaine flowing into Miami, solidifying her reign as the godmother. Her ruthlessness knew no bounds. When her second husband, Alberto, cheated on her, she confronted him in Medellin. In a brutal shootout, she shot him in the face while sustaining a gunshot wound herself. She was linked to the Miami Cowboy Wars, with conservative estimates attributing at least 250 murders to her command. As she famously declared, one does not enter this game to make friends, but to make money. Her third husband, Dario, a hitman with whom she had her youngest son, Michael Corleone, met a similar fate. When Dario took Michael to Medellin due to disagreements over his upbringing, Griselda orchestrated Dario's assassination by rogue police officers, earning her the chilling moniker, the Black Widow. This act sparked a brutal war in Colombia, as Griselda, with her impossibly low prices and control of the entire supply chain, faced virtually all rival cartels, with a $4 million bounty placed on her head. By 1984, she relocated to Irvine, California, where the DEA finally apprehended her after a decade on the run. Despite a plea deal, the judge handed down a 35-year sentence. It was against this backdrop of legend and incarceration that Charles Cosby, then 23 years old, made a calculated decision. Griselda, now 48, and imprisoned just 20 minutes from his home, represented an unparalleled opportunity. Through a former associate of Griselda's, Charles initiated contact, sending letters. His opportunism drove him, seeing in the godmother a chance to dramatically expand his small career. After a month of correspondence, on July 4, 1991, they spoke for the first time. Griselda, despite countless contacts, was captivated by his letters, finding them heartfelt and compelling. Their calls escalated from 1 a day to 5 or 6, laying the groundwork for a profound and unconventional relationship. Charles, still on probation, finally visited Griselda in prison months later. Their first face-to-face encounter was electric. Despite her age, more than twice his, Charles found her beautiful, with captivating hazel eyes. Upon meeting, they immediately embraced and kissed, as if long-established lovers. Their visits became a frequent ritual, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, sometimes even 4 times a week. In a testament to her power, Griselda routinely paid guards $1,500 for private conjugal visits in a back room, a practice they engaged in approximately 100 times. Charles described the experience as no different from with a 21-year-old on the street, and credited Griselda with teaching him how to kiss. Beyond the personal, Charles wasted no time in articulating his true ambition during their first prison visit. He asked Griselda what she could do to improve his and his family's lives. Recognizing his potential, he boldly requested 50 keys of a staggering amount worth approximately $2 million at $40,000 per kilo. Surprisingly, Griselda delivered the very next day, fronting the entire shipment to his home in Oakland. Charles secured a 10% commission, earning $200,000, a monumental sum compared to his previous $30,000 high. Within 45 days, he was a millionaire. Within 6 months, a multimillionaire. Griselda not only allowed him to manage his own operations, but soon appointed him her chief distributor across 5 U.S. cities. This rise was not without its internal struggles. Charles, a young black man from Oakland, found himself in a high-ranking position within an organization dominated by Griselda's old guard, hardcore Colombians who had been with her since her Queens days. They harbored resentment and racism towards him, both for his rapid promotion and his intimate relationship with their queen. Despite these internal problems, Charles continued to navigate the landscape of the drug trade. While he was never personally robbed, attempts were made, and he witnessed a $4 million cocaine robbery under Griselda's watch, reinforcing the inherent risk. Yet, the temptation of easy money cemented his decision, and he indulged in the lavish spoils, acquiring a fleet of luxury cars, including multiple Benzes, BMWs, and a Porsche. However, the brutal nature of the drug world soon struck at the heart of Griselda's immediate family, impacting Charles directly. Osvaldo, Griselda's son, and Charles's primary connection, known as Chiqui, was assassinated in Medellin in 1992. His death was a direct consequence of a long-standing feud. Osvaldo had publicly disrespected Pablo Escobar, who in turn retaliated, partly in vengeance for the accidental killing of Chucho Castro's son by Griselda's hitman years prior. It fell to Charles to deliver the devastating news to Griselda, who reacted with profound grief. This loss strained Charles's relationship with Griselda's oldest surviving son, Dixon, who openly expressed his animosity. Charles also served as a father figure to Griselda's youngest son, Michael Corleone Blanco, who was 12 at the time of their first meeting. Michael, described by Charles as exceptionally intelligent and respectful, developed a close bond with him, frequently visiting Oakland and even befriending Charles's own children. Michael, however, remained unaware of his mother's role in his father's death until it was later chronicled in a book. Griselda's notorious jealousy, a defining trait, would soon turn its lethal gaze on Charles himself. When she discovered his affair with another woman named Amber through a network of prison gossip, Griselda reacted with characteristic fury. She hired a private investigator to confirm her suspicions. The subsequent retaliation was swift and chilling. Michael Corleone, then just 14 or 15, orchestrated a hit on Charles. Charles, who routinely wore a bulletproof vest, was ambushed at a red light, taking 4 bullets to the arm, absorbed by his vest, but managed to escape at speeds of 140 to 150 miles per hour. He went for help at a hospital under a fake name, aware of the authorities would ask questions. 3 days later, the phone calls from Griselda, which had ceased since the shooting, resumed. She explicitly threatened him, revealing that a car parked outside his window signaled further consequences if he didn't visit her. Despite the imminent danger, Charles chose to confront her. During the prison visit, Griselda, consumed by rage, physically assaulted him, grabbing him by the collar. Yet, Charles, a master of persuasion, used what he called his Oakland game, talking his way out of the deadly situation by showering her with praises and acknowledging his needs as a man, ultimately securing her forgiveness. The tide began to turn dramatically against Griselda when her trusted hitman, Jorge Rivi Ayala, facing the death penalty for multiple murders, turned informant. Rivi's testimony, particularly concerning the 1982 murders of the Lorenzos and the accidental killing of Johnny Castro, proved devastating. Charles, who had only known Griselda since 1991, had no information relevant to these earlier crimes and refused to cooperate with the authorities beyond confirming his own earnings. Griselda, facing a potential death sentence, spiraled into desperation. She conceived an audacious and, to Charles, crazy plan to kidnap John F. Kennedy Jr. for a $5 million ransom, securing her release. Charles opposed the idea, recognizing its insanity, yet ultimately folded to her will, even traveling to New York with $100,000 in weapons. The kidnappers came within arm's distance of Kennedy Jr., but ultimately failed. The case against Griselda ultimately crumbled, not due to Charles's non-cooperation, but to an unforeseen scandal. Rivi Ayala engaged in a phone affair with the prosecutor's secretary, compromising the entire case. Griselda pleaded down to 3 second-degree murder charges, receiving a 20-year sentence. Due to old sentencing guidelines, she only served roughly 7 years and was released in June 2004. Upon her release, she was immediately deported to Colombia. On the very same day, Rivi was stabbed 7 times in prison, an event widely, though allegedly, attributed to Griselda's retaliation. Despite the immense danger and the $1 million hit Griselda put on his life, which he believed was a trick to lure him for an ambush, Charles survived. He maintained his distance, and it was not until 2008, when he discovered his image was being used for a documentary titled Cowboys, that he re-entered the public eye. He negotiated ownership in the follow-up, Cocaine Cowboys 2, which chronicled his story with Griselda and became a #1 true crime documentary for 6 consecutive years. This period also saw a remarkable reconciliation with Michael Corleone, who attended the Miami premiere of Cocaine Cowboys 2 as Charles's special guest. Griselda herself called Charles from Medellin, expressing her approval and love for the documentary. However, Griselda's violent past ultimately caught up to her. On September 3, 2012, at the age of 69, while grocery shopping in Medellin, she was assassinated by a motorcycle hitman, a technique she herself is rumored to have invented. Charles described the news as a bull that kicked me in my chest, feeling immense sadness for the grandmother who had retired from the business and was finally enjoying family life. Her death followed those of 2 other sons, Uber and Weber, who had also been assassinated in Colombia while she was incarcerated. Charles's ultimate decision to leave the game was driven by a profound love for his family, recognizing that no amount of money could replace that bond. He stands as a rare survivor in a world littered with death and incarceration. However, luck, intelligence, and wisdom helped him know when to walk away from a life that promises much but ultimately takes everything. Charles Cosby, once entangled with the very fabric of one of history's most brutal drug cartels, not only lived to tell his tale but actively shaped its narrative. His journey from an Oakland street hustler to the inner circle of the godmother, and ultimately to a survivor sharing his experiences, offers a unique, unfiltered look into the price of ambition and the complexities of their world. If you want to support the channel, you can help this video by hyping it. Thanks for watching.